Right, welcome everybody to the Planning and Licence Committee meeting on the 4th of March 2025. Louise, who's very kindly standing in for Duncan, who's yet again gone on holiday. I think we have to stop this. Can you tell us whether we've had any apologies?
We have apologies from Councillor Morris and Councillor Williamson.
And there's a standard apology from Councillor Bell. Right, do we have any minutes, she says?
No, they're coming at the next meeting.
Right, that is not a surprise. Meeting management issues, well, we usually talk about how we're going to deal with members of the public, but there aren't any, so that's all right. Don't think there's anything else we need to talk about. So no matters arising, public question time, there's nobody here. Although if somebody comes late, we'll be flexible enough to allow them in. Active consultations. Do we have any active consultations?
The call for sites informing the future of the local plan. So it's at the last planning meeting, you discussed the call for sites local briefing and viewed the sites considered suitable that have been submitted as part of the ongoing call. Duncan's done a draft response and sent it out to everybody.
And is that what was on the agenda?
Yeah, and it is on the agenda, and to provide the responses, and it's just to ratify that response, please, and make sure you're happy with it.
I proposed, and thank Duncan for it, show of hands to support and to help. Thank Duncan very much for his efforts on that one. Yeah. There wasn't a lot we could say at this stage. No. Right, so do we have any licensing applications?
We do not.
This is wonderful, right. Do we have any 5-day planning protocols to talk about? Oh. In which case, we are on to talking about planning applications. Now, Sarah and I have gone through some of them, but I think if you start us off on these, and then perhaps we don't need to see every paper. So let me just get my. Who's doing that?
Are you doing number one, though, Joanna?
I've looked at number one. I'm just trying to get back to it. Right. Got to call for sites.
Can see the screen? No. Okay.
No, we're not doing that tonight, are we? Okay, so fair enough. Apologies to the member of the public who likes seeing that. We will try and explain what it is we're looking at. Okay, so number one is one of the many old friends on the. This is the extend the apartment blocks with a further 3 apartments without compliance with condition 2, 3, 4, and 5, which is basically stick to the plans. PA 25/0029. What did Duncan give you to present on this one? Anything?
Yes, obviously back in July 2019, you raised a no objection to the plans to extend the existing block of 6 one-bed apartments by adding another 3 one-bed apartments onto the side. You saw and objected to a similarly worded application again in February 24 and in July 24, both very similar. Your concerns at the time were that the designated parking area was not large enough to allow safe access and egress. You were unhappy with the changes to the appearance of the building and concerned at the ongoing inconsistencies with the plan submitted. And I can show you all of the images now, but
was the previous application approved or was it withdrawn? I have a feeling it might have been.
I believe it was withdrawn, I think.
They didn't actually get as far, because I know what the criticisms of it were, and probably there's things that we can't comment on, which is the relationship with the Harpen block behind.
So the planning statement does try to alleviate and explain. So the previous application proposed an area of infill to the rear. That's now been removed. The parking layout is unchanged. All units have 1 space, but 3 of these are accessed from Lawton Close and 6 are from Pentire Avenue. The no infill means there'll be more amenity space, and the bin storage was approved, but it has now been moved to the rear of the boundary, which was a concern. There won't be any 2-bedroom apartments, although some will have a study and an office, and the windows. And the windows to the rear have now been removed to prevent the overlooking.
in my view, it's the overlooking and the effect on Harborne Court behind is very much an officer, a matter for the officer. If he thinks sufficient change has been made, could there?
So there's the existing
It doesn't
and
look,
proposed.
to my untrained eye, it doesn't look an awful lot different from the last time.
No.
Have you got the one with the parking layout there?
Right, have a look. Just check it's not on there. There you go.
So we have 8 or 9 parking spaces. Everybody convinced by that?
So are they removing the? Have you got pointer around Louise?
Oh, sorry, it is it's like the little box.
In the box.
You've got. Can you? So are they removing the wall? Thank you. Is this room more removed? So these 3 cars are meant to access the spaces from that side,
I believe so.
and then these 3 and the 2 are meant to come
Left
from
side.
from the other
Is that
side.
right? I'm not sure they are accessed.
It's, yeah, it's so,
Yes, it is,
yeah,
yes.
3 are from Lawton Close and 6
Yes.
from Pentire Avenue.
I would
I
like.
think they need to still work on that parking. I think if that's the case, they need to put some sort of wall barrier here, because I can just see that going. Yeah, something. I think there needs to be a proper barrier there. So, can you scan down? Can we see where the bin is going to be now?
Yeah.
Now, I'm
down there.
concerned about that because
And
of
so
the
how's
relations.
that accessed through?
There.
So will the bin men through the gate, or have they got to wheel it out?
I'm concerned about how that reacts to Harborne Court, which is directly behind. So they've got their bins, and there's this block of flats that are really quite close. So I would like the planning officer to have a look at that. I think you're right about the terms of how are those bins going to be managed, or have they agreement with
Because
Biffa
that's
to go and
steps
collect it?
there, so they're not going to be wheeled and put out, are they? If they're wheelie bins and down the steps on that. So
So I would like.
I have a concern
I
as
was
to
saying
the-
confirmation that Biffa are happy that
Yes.
this meets their requirements.
yeah,
I would say I would be
And
a
for
little unhappy
recycling.
about whether.
It's not going to care about the neighbours, I think. you raised-
No, they're worried about the steps.
Yes, I think you raised a good point. In addition, yeah.
I think all of these things need to be checked. I would like that parking layout to be looked at by one
Yeah.
of the highway specialists. If they say it's fine, then I don't have a problem.
and have we got electrical charge points on that yet, or
Don't think so.
disabled, spacing? Where's the main entrance into the building at the front here?
There. Entrance to the proposed extension is there,
Right.
and then entrance to the existing building is here.
Okay.
Why is there an empty car park space?
Well, because
Well,
that's
visitors, I
That's the
presume.
9th. Well, no, because they are saying 9 parking.
saying 9,
Yeah.
Um,
But the pictures have one of the car parks being inside the building.
Sorry.
There's one of the designs shows a car park in the building. The document. Maybe. Okay, never mind. Oh no, yes, it is there. Yeah, existing ground floor 4. In the the proposed floor plans. If you go down to the
yeah,
Bottom
scroll down to
left.
the bottom.
It doesn't actually match that other drawing. Yeah, there.
That's the existing,
Oh, I see, sorry.
That's the
Okay, and
proposed.
so now there, that's going
so that's where the extension's going to be.
So
I
we'll,
think it's a lot, the actual elevations are a lot better. Now this is what I wanted to look at. These are 1-bedroom flats. And if you remember, the original plan said 2nd bedroom. That has disappeared from the plans. So you've got your 1 bedroom on your right, on the right there. Can I get the pointer?
yeah, sure. Yeah, press the button. That's it.
It's there.
Yeah.
And that there is the dressing area. Now, I think that's a generously sized dressing area.
And then make it 2 bedrooms, they'll do that. I mean, are you pointing out that there's a parking
I think that
issue
is,
around that?
we've been saying that from the start, that there is a danger that they would have to be heavily conditioned, because that, to me, it looks like it's too small to be 2 bedrooms, which is why it's come in as a bedroom plus a dressing area. But that is a ridiculous size for a dressing area.
2 lounges going. Oh no, is that the kitchen over on the left?
Can you just
It's
can you
kitchen
expand?
door.
They're all exactly the same. Could you just expand it a bit? So they have actually made the lounge smaller, and then on the right you've got something which looks like a hall with a settee in it, which is not part of the flat, I don't think.
No, it's a separate one.
Yeah,
I don't think, is it a separate flat?
yeah.
It's a one bedroom.
Yes, the doors.
Yeah, 'cause that's the
is to
kitchen.
left.
Where's
Apartment 2 is the door up there.
Yeah. So we're looking at one side, and
But
then
it-
the other side is apartment 2.
Interesting, it has a window into the stairwell,
Well,
because that's the door for the flat from the main building, and then this is the extension, isn't it? The infill extension of the building.
is that diagram,
No, that's
is
not the door.
that cut off where it is at the moment? So if you made it smaller, would we see which one on the left-hand side?
Oh, no, that is as is.
That's what
it
they're
would-
saying.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
just
what they're saying.
that's
a
half
typical
of it,
flat
yeah.
is like. Oh, that's better.
Because that's another. Zoom out. Sorry, that's the ground floor. That's the first floor.
That one is slightly different because the bedroom is quite clearly on the ground floor, because they've got to have the service chairs. As soon as you get to the second floor, I don't think that's 2 flats on the top floor, is it? On the second floor?
Yeah, because that's
These are the no, these are the extensions. That's what they look.
Yeah, there's extensions, yeah.
These are the extensions.
Yeah.
So I would, I mean, I think we could. I mean, I don't actually think we've got. Well, I don't. I'm going to propose no objection. Subject to that we have someone looking at the parking. That the the flat dressing area, which seems disproportionately large, is strongly conditioned so that it cannot be used as a second bedroom, because the flat isn't big enough for that.
Yeah.
We want to check that where they are positioning the bins doesn't affect the harbour and court behind, and is an appropriate access from Biffa. And that the changes there, and I do think the elevations are much better than they were, but that the elevations are resolve the problem of infringing on harbour. Anything else?
Councillor Thompson raised EV charges. We could, given that there's no.
Well, that's a nice to have, but it's not. It would be nice to have EV charges.
Well, it is under the Cornwall Council's development plan.
it
We
would
are
be nice
supposed
to
to be
have.
encouraging these things, and
Yes,
so I'd
we
like
should
to
be.
encourage
We would
that, please. If
encourage.
you could please write it down, Louise. Thank you.
And,
We would encourage, but you can't say it's.
I didn't say that.
a mobile parking surface
Yep.
at the
Anyway,
front.
subject to all those things, I'm going to propose no objection. Is there a seconder for that?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Show of hands for no objection. Are you happy that this is being recorded, isn't it, Louise? So you'll be able to look at that. Right. So, the next one. Right. This is an interesting one, PA 25/00917, 55 Henver Road, basically creating 2 additional child-friendly consultation rooms and getting rid of the castle. I think you have a picture of it, don't you?
I remember when it used to be a swimming pool.
Yeah, that's what they...
I mean, that's the front, and then there's the castle in the garden.
Show us I suppose the elevations would be good to see.
Yeah.
So instead of having a blue castle,
Yeah, the castle wood is currently there.
Yes, so they're just filling in, putting the roof on. It will appear over the wall, but currently they've got a bright blue.
Yes, castle wood.
Another castle down the town.
I'm going to propose the action. Children, we're not here to have fun.
Heaven forbid we enjoy ourselves.
Yes, right, so I'm going to propose that we support this. I don't see anything reason why not.
Yes, I can support this, yeah.
You seconding it, show of hands. Katie, have you got any problems with it?
No, I didn't get a chance to fully read it, but if there were any concerns from the ecology trigger list, I'd hope that they're
It's already a castle.
adhered to. Thank you.
It was a swimming
That's what it looks like now.
Any opportunities to improve?
It's an official document, and therefore I'm speaking up to ask that the planning officer please pay attention to anything it raised. Thank you.
Right, I think that's a all supporting support of that one. Number 3, PA 25/0988, proposed conversion of existing flats. This is an interesting one. Proposed conversion of existing flats bed sets into 3 apartments and associated works. So, could you just show us? Oh, right, that's the elevation. Is that the current elevation?
Yes, that's the
And
current.
which one is
This one.
right? Could we now look at what proposed elevation is going to
Ooh.
be?
Sorry, yeah. Proposed.
Is that the proposed or existing? It's going slightly taller. It's not extending over the roof, but it is going
Too small.
Right at the moment, it's just below the roof. So it's can we have a look at the street? What you just showed us on the street scene? Yeah. You see, effectively, you can't tell that the dormer is actually below the apex of the roof. So what they are going to do from this side, I mean, I think the President's already said, is just going up a bit higher.
Yeah.
Could we have a look at the floor plans, please?
Yeah, so do, yeah.
If I'm going too fast, please, because I've... right. What's unusual about this one is it's got about... It currently has about 7...
Yeah, it's a mix of 5 bed, currently a mix of 5 bed, various kitchen, living room spaces.
It's not a house of multiple occupation,
No.
no, it's just
No,
lots
just
of bedsits.
yeah,
And what they're
bedsits.
trying to do is to convert it into 2-bedroom flats.
Yeah.
3 apartments, so 3
3 2-bed. Yeah.
So, which I think is an interesting thing to do. I mean, presumably they have some market research that tells them that this is a more profitable way to.
Well, hopefully they're permanent residents and not just going to be Airbnb. That's the other thing.
Well, they're
They're
gonna
going to
sell it.
holiday now. Yeah.
Could do sell it with
So
plant.
they can cancel it.
Oh, that's such cynicism. But yes, you could be right.
No,
But
it's
do we
not.
have a?
The other reason why it works.
Do we have any problem with them converting? I mean, it's losing a bit of accommodation. No, it isn't really, because it's improving in the accommodation it's got, and it's providing for families as opposed to individual bed sitters. You're looking a bit doubtful, Katie. Any thoughts?
That, I know absolutely that there is a huge demand for one-bedrooms. I literally had someone contact me today asking about it, randomly hunting down already, and it's only the 4th of March. But that said, I don't feel that it's our role to stop these sorts of conversions happening, but I would just while we're on the topic, there is huge demand for single bedrooms in this town. So it's a shame, in a sense, I'd say that. But again, I don't know that there's any planning reason that we should stop it.
Can I say I absolutely agree with you, because we're going to be pushed to, I mean, they're not going to say, well done, Yuki, you've developed an awful lot of housing, you don't have to do any more. We are going to be pushed with more numbers. So effectively, we are losing, there is a demand I don't think there's a planning reason at the moment to turn this
Yes,
down.
there was something in our neighbourhood plan which sort of speaks to the provision of housing, but I just don't think it gets that detailed. And maybe that's something to look at in the next neighbourhood plan, you know, the balance between high quality and actually just having enough single rooms for, there seems to be, you know, there are plenty of families, but there are also lots of single people in this town who struggle the most, I think, well, everybody does, to find somewhere affordable to live. So in that sense, again, I think it's regrettable, but we just don't have any technical reason to dispute it.
Hold on to that thought, because I think we don't have a housing mix policy in the neighbourhood plan. Obviously, they're going to rewrite the neighbourhood plan, yes, and I think it's a difficult study to do. But effectively, I think you're completely right. I mean, we did have some problems with nothing to do with this one, with where they had a building where they were dividing it into 7 pretty grotty flats. But then we thought, you know, people are desperate, even for, I mean, I used to live in one of these grotty flats when I was young, so I wouldn't do it now, but there is a definite demand. So yeah, I think we need to look at the mix. But currently, I don't think we've got any...
Perhaps it's worth us just making that statement that we regret the loss of affordable single bedroom housing for the town. And I would say the business community, because these are the people who work in restaurants, etc. Sorry, Louise, did you? No, she's a bit distracted.
Sorry, no, we've just had something come in for a comment about one of the applications from the agent, so I was just seeing which one it was. No, it's a bit later on, it's just trying to remember that it's there.
Again, it sounds as though...
Would you like to make a proposal?
I guess it's a proposed no objection, but we regret the loss of the affordable single room housing for the town and especially businesses who try to hire people.
Because we feel that there is a demand for that sort of housing.
And beyond that, sorry, you know, so if we want growth in this country, you need businesses to be able to hire people, and they've got to have somewhere to live that for the summer that's just 1 bedroom that they can afford. So in that sense, at your point on the mixed use, if anybody listening wants to get involved in a neighbourhood plan update in coming years, apparently that's how we would do it. So sounds like we need to do that. Nuki.
Is there a seconder for that? Right, show of hands for no objection on that basis. Did you manage to pick up what we were saying? There's no obvious planning reason not to do it, is it? We want to play in the change plans. Effectively, they are reducing the accommodation by 4 units from 50 to 46. It's how they're doing it that is interesting. This is actually, is this the list of what the changes are? Yes. Can you blow it up a bit so you can read it? Mm-hmm. So, right, here we go. So they're sort of saying they've looked at the mix, and they think they can sell more. So they are, due to movement in the market, facing some challenges. So if you roll it down a bit, across the site they have changed, resulting in a small shift in plot boundaries has made a notable effect around plots 23 to 26. We'll look at the plans in a moment. Parking in the south, particularly below plot 26, has been reduced because of the removal of the apartment blocks, and that is the big thing. They were going to have a huge couple of apartment blocks at the end. They're replacing it with a terrace. More green space. Plots 1 and 2 have changed, but that doesn't actually tell you very much. From house type 24 to house type 25. I'm not sure we ever got into that sort of detail, did we? Plots 5 and 6 have been altered to accommodate an M4/3 unit, house type 06, whatever that is. Plot 726, the south end of Sutton has been redeveloped to replace the HT30 apartments with terraces of 2 and 3 housing with smaller 2-storey apartment buildings matching the scale of the rest of the development. Personally, I welcome that. That was the one bit of the plan, well, apart from the fact of the access, that I really didn't like. That's 7 to 22. What was previously 27 to 40 and now 23 to 36. Smaller house types to create less density. But they must consider that the smaller house types are where the market is.
Well, yeah.
At a broad, wait a minute, how we go, blah, 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 excluding on the current plot 33, broad level house type of reverted porches and plinths to tender specification. Render block plinths as opposed to the previous brick plinths. Which is, I'm not happy about the rendered. I think, can we have a comment about where they talk about render? White
Please.
render does not
Render
work.
in Cornwall is horrific, and if they were using brick, fantastic.
Yeah.
Just look around the town, you can still Cornwall.
I would happily
just
support you to say
awful.
that we regret
We
the loss of the brickwork for render.
Well, can we not? Surely we have. Don't we have a statement in the neighbourhood plan? Something
we
about
have a
suitable-
policy about using materials that are suitable
Yes,
for
I think
the,
we should
for
state
the
that.
environment. And this was, I
Yeah.
would say on this one, we would refer them to our policy.
Yeah, Louise,
Louise.
please. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah, we got a policy on that. I totally agree with that. I think trying to
Our neighbourhood plan asks for materials suitable to the environment. I think it
it
was
specifically talks about
climate.
it
or-
specifically talks about white render and how
Oh,
they should
good.
do it.
And shouldn't be here. It just looks hideous.
Right.
It's revolting.
M8 house type 24 rear dormer removed, resulting in a slightly taller form to accommodate the appropriate head height over the stair. That sounds all right. I mean, it's landscape, right? This is an interesting one. Keeping with the previous landscape strategy, reflecting shifting boundaries, soft works and hard works, because of the site plan change. We'll look at that in a moment. Engineering plans updated, obviously. And that's why they have the accommodation. Could we look, first of all, at the current, has it got the current plan there?
I've got proposed.
Oh, we'll just have to propose, it'll do. There is a
There's
current one,
nothing in.
but it's probably not in this batch.
No, I've just got the proposed.
It's a site plan, so that shows where, is it the block plan? There we go, can you bring that up? So,
Soft works.
yes, they seem to have moved the pond.
No, the pond's always been there.
I thought it was slightly to the right. So down the bottom of this, where you see the round, which I assume are trees, and that used to be, that used to be 2 or 3 3-storey. So that is the biggest change, I think.
Yes, it was that block of apartments there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so they've made those houses.
They still haven't. They still haven't changed the access. They're still only using a single access, which was the thing that worried us. Having lower level terrace houses, I know the local population is very concerned in Bidown Meadows. So I would hope that not having blocks against them there will be slightly more acceptable to local people. But I mean, they really don't like this. And I understand entirely why. Anybody got any problem with them? There seems to be a reasonable amount of greenery on there. Did you say there was a better one to look at? Kate, did you say there was a better plot plan to look at?
There's one called Soft Works, which just shows.
Have we got that one, Louise?
And landscape? Landscape softworks?
Ah, look at it. Yeah, definitely the pond was on the other side. Right. So, it is what it is. Does it say what the blue is?
Proposed flowering lawn.
So
Sarah, I was just wondering if you had any comment on the drainage plan.
Well, I've never liked the pond there.
Water.
Because if that fills up, I mean, it hasn't got drainage from it,
Oh, wow.
unless it's got a higher up overflow drain into drains. This is just going to fill up with water, and I'm concerned then with it, if it being next door to, you know, the university. They're very concerned at the university with having a walking great big.
Can you see the drainage? Can we see the drainage? What's it called?
I mean, we can only
Drainage,
ask
something
for
that's-
confirmation that the
Proposed
drainage
drainage
is
strategy.
sufficient
Drainage
for the number of
strategy.
houses, but I think that's all. We
And-
actually raised water
Yeah.
at the last time
We did,
around.
yes, that's why I'm
And we're
asking.
not water
Yeah, and this is
experts.
what the residents raised, was water, they've had flooding nearby.
Yes.
So I'm trying to understand if that orange thing coming out of the pond is perhaps an overflow thing, like you're saying, Sarah, but it says it's highest water level, no.
What's it say?
BBC
Louise, can
class.
you read the top?
Debris
The thing that
screen,
looks like an exclamation mark to the side of
BBC
the pond.
class.
Yeah.
That. What does that say?
Line and level of existing services to be confirmed. Note location of existing high voltage electrical line.
oh my
That's
goodness.
like electricity.
Yeah, it really is.
So, I mean, they've got the drainage coming out, but there isn't any obvious drainage leaving that pond.
Yeah, I
That's
think
the
I
one
raised, I raised this last time it came, and it was
Yeah.
noted that it was simply a soakaway pond.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just a side. It's just a soakaway.
We
They
should
do
raise
work.
it again.
But, I mean, they fill up with water.
Exactly.
Yes, but they
And
work as a
that's
soakaway.
level, and then they go and stick a...
So we continue to have concerns that drainage may be insufficient.
Yep, like
Yeah.
that. I think they've
Surface
solved the
surface drainage.
And
they've solved the problem with the noise through the skate park. They've put a
'cause
acoustic
they've
wall.
had the walls put on the
Yeah.
skate park, haven't they?
So I would continue to have concerns of only using the single access, because that's what we
Yeah.
raised last time. On the whole, and we have real concerns about the replacement of the brickwork by render, which does appear to, did you?
Reach our neighbourhood plan.
It doesn't...
Yes, it's in there.
Yeah. Because it doesn't... The render doesn't weather well.
Yeah,
It's disgusting.
So
Yeah.
we regret the removal of the, I think we're revving up to, but I don't think we're revving up to an objection. I think it's a no objection.
See, the render changed.
Yes.
Let's
But
be
in the-
clear.
No, definitely, definitely.
To a more suitable material for the town or the county.
To remember which policy it was. I will dig you out the correct policy.
No?
We've
Okay.
definitely got a policy that, I would have thought it was in the housing one. It's parking, the place needs to go into.
Louise, does it say anything in that text box with the arrow going to the soakaway as to...
Treatment and storage of surface water provided in vegetated infiltration basin.
Yeah.
D7, to ensure development proposals use materials that are sustainable and positively enhance local character, which render absolutely does not.
And then
in
and
UK.
then it covers it more in G3, building for the maritime climate, which we talk about fixtures and finishes, included rendered finishes should be of appropriate quality to withstand the maritime climate. We've all seen them. Then you've got exactly the same. So we are unhappy that I mean, the loss of the brickwork, I think, is a real shame.
My understanding is that even the apparent appropriate quality has turned out to actually not, that no render really works in this climate, that there were claims that certain render paints would stand up and they don't.
The good news is that when we first introduced this, the officers, the planning experts were saying, you can't enforce that. And we said, well, we know we can't, but we want to think about it in the first place. What has happened now is planning officers are now coming back and agreeing with us and going back to and saying, you know, white render, forget it. You know, it's not a goer. Anyway, I think I'm going to propose no objection on that with all of those, because I don't think there's any point objecting. Is there a second? That show of hands for no objection with all those points in. Thank you. Right. So, right, Central and Pentile, I have looked at this one, PA 24/09565, proposed new self-custom build dwelling, land south of Riverbank, Fistral Crescent. This is a very old friend. Originally had a planning permission. They put in an outline planning permission to, actually if you could show some of the pictures so we can see what, that is, sorry, that is the site. So this is the unmade up part of Riverside Avenue. That is actually the site, that is the garden, that's the original house up there. Could we see the next one? This is the sort of unmade up road that is, which is Riverside Avenue. Next one, please. That's from the other direction. One of the points they were making was that next door to them, they have had this gabion wall. Gabion, is that the right word? Gabion wall installed. But what I see is it's doing its job and that nature is reinserting itself. So effectively, it's because it's got the gabions and the network, the plants are going up the network. So I actually think that is looking, it's not finished, but I think in a year or so that is going to be a completely green wall. This is an area which we specifically identify in the neighbourhood plan as a country-style road that we wish to protect. It's also the route of the King Charles III England coast path. That's the route that comes down from the headland along Pentile Crescent and joins the Southwest Coastal Path. So we put this into section 15 as a special thing to preserve because it is a lovely country lane leading up to the headland. So as you can imagine, I am not keen on actually turning that into a house that comes into the road. The 2018, this is actually, it's quite interesting because if you look at those, especially the south view, it doesn't really represent what it looks like because it appears to apply the house next door to it is coming down to the road, which of course is where the gabions are. The original planning permission was asked for in 2018 to have an extra house in the garden coming into the road. It was turned down flat by the planning officer. That was way before, just so I can find the text. That was actually way before, right. So that was way before we got the neighbourhood plan in. And they rejected it on the basis the proposal would lead to the loss of an area of land which contributes positively to the street scene of Riverbank Avenue, it should be Riverside, but never mind, due to its green and naturalised appearance. As such, the proposal is considered to be contrary to policy 2 and 12 of the Cornwall Local Strategic Policies and paragraph 17 of the National Planning Policy Framework. Now, those policies are because of the change in the rules, are probably no longer valid. However, pleasing to say that the effect on the neighbourhood plan is if you have a system design document, which we do, that is still valid. And it is in chapter 15. So then it says that it considered that due to consider a combination of the site's location, topography and a limited size, the proposal will result in a cramped and substandard form of residential development, and one that would provide a poor standard of amenity to future development. What they want to do is they want to dig out the garden, they want to quarry it, and then they want the garage and the roadside to come out on the road. There is one splendid comment about how they would need a drop curb. In order to have a drop curb, you have to have a curb. What we have got is the natural. If we could go back to photograph, I think photograph 2 does it. It's probably the best. Ooh.
Ooh.
No.
Ooh.
Right. So what they would be wanting to do, so there is this, they have a gate, but this old wall, which has been there for as long as I can remember, and it keeps, indeed keeps going up. One of the things they cite is the house that is further up, which has done exactly this. And that was done before the neighbourhood plan, and actually the neighbourhood plan came in because it's quite obvious what a damage it's done to this lovely countryside. You go up there and there's a sort of big gates, and it really has wrecked the sort of countryside road. I'm extremely, they have every right. Can we go back to 1? Mm-hmm. They have every right to do something with their garden, to get rid of the green undergrowth. What they do not have the right to do is to quarry out the natural land. So, if you actually, can we have a look at a couple of the, I think if we go back to those outline, you can see what they're planning to do, and that one at the bottom on the right, or either one of the two on the side. So you can see the natural lie of the land. And then they're saying what we're going to do is a huge amount we're going to take out. I think it could have a real problem on the water. I remember when the other one was built, it had a huge problem on the water. I think this is going to have an extremely detrimental effect on this very special area. There is one other thing. There is a comment on which you haven't picked up yet because it's come in quite recently. So first of all, they're saying, please, this is from people next door, they're saying, please note the red and blue boundary lines shown on the location of block plan drawing are incorrect, which is always a good start. I should say that in 2020, they got planning permission to put 2 houses, so knock down the original Riverbank house, and put 2 side by side. Part of their justification is saying, well, if you can put 2 houses on it, doesn't it justify having one top and bottom, which I would say is completely a different case. That permission has now lapsed. It was July 2020, so that permission has now lapsed, although I assume that they could reinstate it again. The boundary lines they're given, apparently, according to the next door neighbour, are incorrect. You're going to love this bit. They are protecting the monkey tree, the large monkey trees up. They've said that. It's because it's a self-build. It means they can completely ignore, according to them, all the stuff about creating equivalent green. They can get rid of it because it's a self-build. Apparently, that's what the planning permission says.
I don't reading anything about this.
If you look in the papers, one of the comments next door says, we assume the self-build use will be conditioned somehow, as that has bypassed the biodiversity net gain requirement for the site. So effective, they are saying that because it's a self-build.
More than just net gain in the climate action. And net gain is for larger developments, but there are plenty of other expectations for protection of greenery in the Cornwall plan. So it's irrelevant that they don't have to do an actual biodiversity net gain. They're still supposed to help protect greenery or replace, as you sort of say.
So it's not a net gain, it's a net loss. And there's always the argument they can denude their own garden, but as part of this development, I mean, I hope they don't, but they can. But what they can't do is they can't quarry it out. What else? They're saying a substantial amount. It's very good, this condition, that the comments are. We hope the planning officer will condition the installation. I think it's worth referring to this. If the planning officer is considering this, we need to refer to this particular objection because it's a very well thought out objection and all the conditions you want to have in there. Then they say a substantial amount of excavation will be required, I'll say. And there should be condition method statements as to how this will be achieved. One of the things we said in the 2021 was that what they hadn't provided was a view of what it would actually look like. And they have not provided, I've searched through this and I have seen nothing about how they see this being visualised. I mean, I think it's going to have a really, really negative effect on this lovely little lane. But they haven't provided anything that shows that that is not going to be a problem. I can't see how he can avoid it with the garage and the access coming onto the road, which is the one thing we want to prevent. So it's not going to be a surprise to you that I'm going to suggest that we object to this.
To point out where it would come onto the road? I don't...
Can we go, there, if you sit, you get left, hang on.
3-car garage.
There.
It comes onto the lane.
If we look at picture 1 again.
Oh, no, sorry.
Changed out of all recognition. Right, here.
It just comes onto the lane. So all that wall and all that slope will be dug out. And dug back.
Greenery there is the lane rather than their property.
Yes,
That
that's
is the
lane.
verge.
Yeah, yeah. Which has-
Can we see number 2?
There you go.
There you go. So it
You
would be
see
there.
that the building would come past that stone wall.
No,
No,
the
no,
garage.
it's
It's the garage and the car park would come out through it. That's
come
where they want
out.
to have the quote
No, it wouldn't
drop
come
curb.
out. It would be flush where the wall is.
Flush with the
Yeah,
wall.
so they're not
Yeah.
they're not coming. They're not bringing out.
Right,
They're
that
not
was-
bringing
I
out.
was
The,
just-
but what they are talking about is the drop curb there.
I guess my point is we need to be very clear and very reasonable objections, and to me, being flush with the wall is not coming into the lane, unfortunately. I don't know that I feel like that's a strong enough grounds, although there's probably plenty of other grounds for objection.
Well, I think that the mere fact that as you can see, there's no there until you get to the top. There is no road access on the right hand on the north side of the lane. This would and what they're trying to claim is that the one that's up here is a precedent for doing that here. Well, if you see the one that's up there, it's awful. So there is no access coming into this road.
Yeah. And the immediate thing that stood out to me is that in a number of other applications, we've objected to the loss of the wall, which in the new neighbourhood plan we've been asked to respect that character of the town, let alone the biodiversity benefits. And as I understand it here, that entire wall would just be pulled down and there'd be none of that character left. There's just no way. I don't even know how you get trucks in to build it by keeping the wall. So
you could do that.
I mean, maybe you could keep half of it.
The road clearly isn't made up at all. Somehow or another, it's managed to get double yellow lines on it, and I really don't understand how they did that. I suspect somebody went down with their own paintbrush and painted them in, because it's not adopted. But just trying to find the relevant bit. Right. So what we
Your point on the drainage is interesting, because we do, it's a very sensitive area, really, being on the cliff, and we do have residents regularly sort of asking us to speak up on, with regards to, I guess, sustainable drainage would be the term, perhaps.
So effectively, the policies we would be looking at is policy H1 says we can do replacements, but as long as it doesn't affect the character of the area. Policy H2 is the one that talks about sensitive areas, and we definitely identify the banks of the Gannel as a sensitive area. Policy D1 is designed in line with including development and reinforcing a strong identity or sense of place, taking into account existing elements of the townscape landscape that give the place local character, with reference to Appendix 5, the Newquay Character Study. And this is actually the Newquay Character Study, which is section 15, page 57, where it says things like encourage continued use of Cornish hedges or stone-faced planted banks as landscape features on property boundaries, particularly along streets. Well, clearly they're getting rid of one. Promote the above design raid garden planting. There's one I'm sure that talks about. Oh yes, the views of the views alongside the unadopted lane section of Riverside Avenue and the Southwest Coastal Path. When we wrote this, we didn't have the King Charles III English, whatever it's called, English Coast Path. But we actually specifically mention it as a key view to protect. And that is section 15 of the character study. So that refers straight back to policy D2 and policy H2, because we talk about sensitive areas, which requires developments in areas of particular landscape sensitivity to have no negative impact on the character or appearance of the surrounding area. Then you've got LE1, that's no significant adverse impact on the character of land again, and LE4 seeks to protect key views and vistas. Well, this is a footpath that the public come down, so I think LE4 stands well. I'm just actually reading this out of the last case that they looked at, and they quoted all these policies. So anyway, I'm proposing objection on that point. So show of hands for objection. I think you've got enough there, Louise.
Yep, I think so.
It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out, because the local plan may no longer be valid, but I think our neighbourhood plan, because of a system design document, is. Okay, application 6, PA 25/01181, 22 Riverside Crescent. It's another one for us. What they're trying to, can we have a look at the elevations, the proposed elevation? I think they've got proposed, and it shows you exactly what they're trying to do. If you look at the one that's incredibly boring,
Oh gosh, we've seen
this one, this is an old friend. The original sort of had a square block like that.
Yeah.
But what they're proposing to do is to step it back into 3 steps.
Okay.
Doesn't look a lot different from the front. But again, we've got here, it's, so they are also, I'm pleased to say, proposing to get rid of the white render and use white tiles instead. They are still using white for the stuff at the, what's the thing called at the top? No. My mind, I'll look it up in a minute. I've got it written down just because it wasn't what I.
Like the fascia?
Fascia, that's it.
Okay.
They're still white rendering the fascia. They might like to look at that. I don't know how good the tiles are going to be, but I certainly applaud them for doing it, because I think that's got to be better than white render.
So that's what it was going to be like. That's what's approved.
You're still going to see mould and things, what do you call it?
That's what it's going to look like now. Where's the one, the original?
Here.
Is it there?
How if I tapped on it?
Is that the original one?
That's the original,
yes,
yeah.
So you can see where Louise has just been throwing, you can see what they've done is they've just stepped it back.
Yeah.
And there's sort of slight changes as well, but I think that for
less
instance,
windows.
looks exactly the same, but it isn't,
Yeah.
because that one is stepped back.
Yeah.
Any comments?
Yeah, I mean, any white is going to, you're sitting right there in the elements, any white is going to go mossy and mouldy and look terrible after 4 or 5 years. Yes, tiles are better than render, but if they could use anything that wasn't white, it would survive the elements better.
We welcome the fact that they are replaced. Although we don't know whether the tiles are actually, it's got to be better than white render, and we'd want to consider possibly doing something with the fascias.
Encourage anything in a different colour that will withstand the elements.
And I do like the fact that it's set back, because I think that makes it a lot less obtrusive. Yeah. We haven't actually, do you know where this is, by the way? We haven't actually shown the location plan. It's right at the end of Riverside Crescent. Oh yeah, there you go. So
That's coming down, is it?
That's coming down. May have already come down, actually.
Yeah.
And then I think it's come down. And the one, there's going to be another house to its right, but and then you get straight onto Pentar Headland. So it's quite a sensitive area, but I think what they're doing is they've already got planning permission to do what they have done, and I think this is a real improvement. So I'm going to propose support with the comment, can you welcome the loss of the white render, can you do something about the fascia?
I'll second that.
Or do you want to go no objection?
I'll second the no objection.
Okay, fair enough. Show of hands for no objection. I think it doesn't make a big difference in the scheme of things. Are you happy that you've got enough for that, Louise?
Yep.
Okay, so we're now on to, wow, one for you, Sarah.
Yeah.
You
So
volunteered to do this one.
application 7PA25/01208, 17 St Anne's Road, single-storey flat roof extension with skylights. So if we can just have a look at the site location on St Anne's Road. And then, yeah, that's we all are happy where St Anne's Road is, coming off Chester Road. Yeah. That's the front view, but the extension's sort of all at the back, so it's not going to be seen. So existing plan, and it'd be a case of spot the extension at the back in a minute. So. Proposed plan. There we go. It's here. Literally, they're doing some internal shenanigans and moving stuff around. So this will become their dining area, and then they're putting these skylights in the flat roof, which goes straight upwards, and then a door coming out.
What's the actual extension?
Is this
The bit on the end?
It's the bit on the end. It's there.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying sort of like spot the extension. Really, it's sort of.
Yeah, oh, I see, yeah.
It's and a little bit at the side.
It goes onto a back lane, doesn't it?
There is a back lane between St Anne's Road and Chester Road. Yeah, I can remember used to walk to it to get to the doctors years ago when it used to be in Chester Road. Yeah, so there's no obvious windows looking out really onto neighbouring.
Are those car parking spaces at the back?
No, it's their back garden.
With the four oblong streets?
A glazed canopy.
It's glazed
Oh,
canopy.
it's a glazed
It's just
canopy.
like, yeah, it's just a covered area sort of.
Right.
Really, you could sit outside, couldn't you? And in the sun, because I mean it's facing south. The back's facing south, isn't it? So you could sit outside on a nice day and not be rained on.
That doesn't
Yeah.
say much for our summer weather, does it?
So the extension's only 14 square metres. So if you can imagine that, 2 metres by 7. It's
make your
pretty
proposal?
small.
Encourage consideration of solar panels, but otherwise no objection.
Yeah, there's no loss of amenity, and the side windows are small. I don't think that's going to have because it's just more. You wouldn't looking at that, you wouldn't know there was a difference really. I don't
Making a
think
proposal?
so. Yeah, I propose. Supporting this. If they could have some water butts or something put there and some solar panels, that'd be great.
Yes.
So the usual, wherever it is.
Is there a seconder for that? Show of hands for support.
Yeah, because it's so small, really. Yeah, I'm
Did you-
surprised that it needed permission, really, but there we go.
You didn't do application 8, did you?
No, I didn't do
I did
8.
look at this one. PA 24/08700. Change.
Comment.
Oh, hang on. Is there a comment on this? On which one is that?
This one.
Right.
It's the designer comment.
PA 24/08700. It's a change of use of the access strip to land for the siting of domestic garage with auxiliary accommodation over for 2 Manuus Way without compliance with condition 2, which is always stick to the plans.
We've seen this
We've seen all of these before. And fundamentally, the biggest difference, I think, is they've built it already. And they've got, instead of having internal stairs up to the ancillary accommodation, they've got on the outside. What does the agent have to say?
The application is regularising the outbuilding as has an external staircase now with a screen landing. Yeah, so the application is regularising the outbuilding as has an external staircase now with a screen landing, so no overlooking. The accommodation is not part of the HMO, but is for the applicant owner's adult daughter and is ancillary to the house. She shares the private residential use of the house with her family, and they have a single laundry within the garage area below. There's a...
So that's just showing.
So hang on a minute. Is she living in a room over the garage, effectively?
It's a nice room.
Yeah, you get a good size.
But not a separate address, though.
No, this is ancillary to the main building. It's not an annex.
So there's the images, that's what was approved and that's what's been built.
So it's
see the
pretty
steps come
similar,
out.
really, apart from staircase being on the outside.
Oh, I see.
So again, approved and then what's been
Okay.
built.
Anybody got any problem with that? I was going to say, because they've already done it, no objection, because it's retrospective, but I will note that it isn't, can we just note that it isn't an annex, it is ancillary accommodation.
Yes. Yes, and not
But I
to
think
be-
that's what they've got anyway.
Yeah. So,
Number nine is yours.
yeah, so application 9 PA 25/01235, platform 3 cafe in Tranance, replacement of the existing storage building with ice cream servery. So just as a little location. So what we're looking at is that little hut there. So that little hut there is going to change shape and have a hatch. So there it is at the moment. Shed, and the roof's going to change shape. So then if we list existing plans and elevations, please, Louise.
So is it part of the playground or part of the
No, it's part of the cafe.
the lakeside, or which cafe?
Platform 3.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
go
topic.
back to the map again.
No, it's not that.
No, it's not. Here we go. Okay.
There's a play
So
park
it's the
there.
turning. It's the turning area. So that's the car park.
Yes.
This is the cafe. That's the entrance to the car park.
Yeah. Just say it's
And then the
part-
entrance. So that's platform 3 cafe, referring to the miniature railway.
Oh, right. Now I've got it. Yeah.
There's the leisure
Okay.
centre zoo.
The leisure centre and the zoo's up there. So there's the little hut that they want to. It's currently a storeroom, and they want to do it as an ice cream serving.
Does that mean they're going to get rid of the hideous picture of the fasting?
Well, hopefully. Oh gosh, I mean it is pretty grisly, isn't it? So that's the current shed at the moment. There it is. And if we look at the proposed, if we can zoom in, so that's going to be the little hatch, and the shed is become bigger. If we look at the plan, so instead of being a little square shed here, it's now an odd-shaped shed. You don't want to say that in a hurry. An odd-shaped shed. And it's so, yeah, so it can be like a door, and then there's just this serving hatch then for ice creams, with the roof. Surprisingly enough, it's going to have a roof on it. Yeah.
Pitch roof there already.
There is a pitch roof there already. I think it just it's not, because it's an odd-shaped building. It has, it's got computer generations. I think it's existing is pitched and it becomes flat.
It becomes flat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's an odd shape. They would have trouble getting the pitch there.
So our policy
So door.
E3 says maintain and enhance the stock of tourist facilities and
Yeah.
accommodation.
Yeah. So I propose
I
support.
second that.
And Yes, show of hands
Yeah.
for support, no problem. Welcome, a welcome development and quote policy E3, one of them.
Fantastic. I'm not doing number 10.
Oh, another old friend.
Oh, yes.
Right, we've seen this before several times. It's got 41 documents on it, which we do not need to see. What we would, it's the, the history behind this, is this came in a year ago, 2 years ago, and it basically has been withdrawn because the highways said you can't do this, because if you're coming out of there, it's going to be a menace. Now, I can't quite see it. There should now be, have we got the new diagram?
Proposed.
Master plan is the only one we need.
There we go. It doesn't, to me, look any different, except there might be something in the road there.
That was just like the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it?
So this is, in principle, we didn't particularly like this, and we had a whole stream of objections which largely got ignored. But what happened was that the highway said coming out into the main road like that is simply not on. And I'm not sure what that's supposed to be indicating. It's not down to us to discuss highways issues. So,
Yeah, we repeatedly said that it's dangerous.
yeah.
Dangerous road.
So what are they? It's now changed because it is now. We've now got the new road that swings off just below this, across the Walker's estate.
Traffic lights around there somewhere as well.
Yeah, so they've got some pedestrian crossings and things like that. So the new road is but down below. Is this in situ? Have we got it? Have we got one in situ to see how it relates to the new road?
Have you got what, sorry?
The site, the location plan. I think.
Oh, location plan, sorry.
That's what it looks like. It's described as the there, it's still not got it. But the new road.
Nothing with the new road, no.
The new road is just down below and then swings across.
Yeah, but that doesn't affect the, I mean, it's still a 40 mile an hour zone.
It says here that there's
It's still dangerous.
a signalised road junction is one of the documents. So does that mean they're putting in traffic lights essentially at the entrance exit to this place?
Ooh, I don't like that. Well, personally, I think in such a busy road, that's not a good idea. But when it comes down to, I think we can rate, there's nothing online yet from the traffic people. I think we could safely say we have concerns about their solution, especially if it's a signalised traffic. Is that what they're planning? On one of the busiest roads in Newquay, so I'm not sure I like the idea of having.
Well, I think we've got traffic lights going in and out of the estate. There's pedestrian
Yes.
lights. But the estate's opposite, isn't it? Going into that estate. The new one.
I think all we can do is say we have concerns, but we need to refer it to the highways experts.
What gets me is the greatest land use on this seems to be given over for cars and car parking. If you compare the area that's going to be tarmacked, we've got all this around here, we've got this here, we've got this
So
there.
these visibility
All-
displays are new, apparently. So the previous applications have not demonstrated the visibility displays. The plan submitted here seeks to demonstrate a safe level of visibility for traffic in excess of 100 metres in both directions.
So they've set them back off the...
Well, maybe.
So is that footpath then? Is that yellow
that's the existing
footpath?
one, isn't it?
What are you referring to as the visibility display? Which bit on the diagram is that? Is it the yellow
Is
bit?
that
No, the little
star?
purple, pinky.
Yeah, that purple line,
Yeah.
as if you're there trying to get
So I
out.
think we're safely saying that we've still got concerns about that.
Yeah.
We await the comments of the highways experts, which
And I
they
see
haven't
that
done
the
yet.
visibility display on the left of it is actually crossing the trees, yeah.
Is this the latest one?
Yes, it's the only one. They've not done it before. This is new.
There is an earlier one from the previous application. But it looks that where they're coming out is exactly the same place.
And at the top, it says road and pavement will join the adjacent development, as if you can drive out the top.
Yeah, you go.
That's where they're going to have, yes, because if we come down a bit, Louise,
So,
there's another development,
yeah.
which is a big triangle which they've got already.
So why do they need the exit up down
There.
there, but not the exit at the top?
Why do they need?
The exit, the dangerous one.
Because they've done
so
that bit yet.
That has already been built, and that, I'm not sure how they get out of that
Well,
one.
they say they join and have access to the prowl.
Yeah.
Road and pavement will join the adjacent development and have access to the prowl, which I presume is the blue. And access meaning you can drive through
Because I
it to
presume-
get out to the back of Morrison, sort of.
I presume this is access as well. Is that going to be access into the development here?
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Your pointer is you drive out north. Well,
Yeah, I mean, we've got,
up.
yeah, into, where's this got access at the moment?
Well, I keep
So
coming
clear.
back to say, I don't think
think it has.
we need to waste our time discussing access. I think we can say we still have concerns and we wait for the comments of the,
So
wait
it-
for the comments of.
So it has,
Objection then on those grounds.
it has changed because in the previous one, then this had its own little access for the car parking here.
Yeah.
Now the road
That's been
goes,
removed, yeah.
it goes across the back gardens into here. This access doesn't exist anymore.
They still haven't, well, as I say, I
No.
keep
Yeah,
saying,
there it is.
it's really
Yeah.
not down to us, it's down to highways to say is what they have done is
Safe.
safe. So you think there isn't any access coming out to the road? Surely that is.
No, not here anymore. No,
No,
because
but
that had its
higher
own.
up.
There,
That was
there is
always
there
it.
still.
Certainly is
That
there.
was always coming
Yes,
there.
it's always
That's
there.
why they've done
but it
there.
had its own access here for car parking, but now it's chopped the gardens off.
Oh, I
I see it having a road going down the boundary
So there was a
with
double
4 car
access there.
parking spaces there.
Yeah.
Ah, now that I hadn't worked out.
Noisy. These poor people. I mean, I find, you know, the bias has been given to the motor vehicle with these 8 houses.
Yeah.
And it's an awful lot of space that's just been taken up with car parking
Yeah.
in actually a greater land space compared to the housing. And in my mind, it would have been better having the houses at the back and to
Yeah,
give the gardens at the
exactly.
front
Yeah.
and to have all the parking here. Really,
We
it's
do
just
have a policy of providing parking places.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I'm not
now
saying
looking-
not.
I'm now looking at the other one, and you're quite right. So the one at the bottom is no longer.
Yes, that's not
the
there.
one that's halfway down the hill
it's still there.
is still there, and I don't know whether they approved it or highways approved that one, or whether it was only the
So-
bottom one they didn't approve.
So they, you know, they've lost their gardens to road effectively
What's for
Yeah.
drive? Yeah.
to that drive
Car
round
seal.
for parking. And
Exactly what the neighbourhood plan says, not. Yes.
No, I'm not. I don't think we've got. I don't think we've got. I
Well,
mean,
what are we approving? We don't know what we'd be even not objecting to.
well, there's
because-
plenty. You can say that the footprint of the amenity area has to be the same size as the houses. Now, are you saying that they've still got pretty adequate gardens? They've got that large space at the bottom. So I don't think you can say the amenity space is. I understand you're saying you would have preferred to have bigger gardens, but now. So effectively what they have done is they've kept the car parking and they've taken a strip out of the gardens so that they can go up to the other access.
Yes.
And I don't know whether that access is acceptable or not. So again, it's coming out into the main road.
But again, I don't know how we could not object if we don't know what the access is or not,
Well,
as you say.
Yeah, you can object to say until we hear what the transport people say.
How could we?
yeah,
I'm just trying to see what we said last time.
I just find it incredible that the greatest percentage of land area for this development is given to tarmac, not the 8 houses and their gardens. And so I object to it on that, on basically poor design
Okay, what we said last time.
and huge impermanence.
Right, can I just say what will happen? So our objection, councillor record the town council objection to the initial application, which was largely informed by consultee comments relating to the treatment of surface water, safe vehicular access to and from the A392, and the potential for contaminated land. Now, I think they've got a contaminated land study. Councillors were encouraged that the amended layout had taken on board local comments regarding the proximity to existing dwellings. While considering the amended design, councillors were reminded of their recent support for the one next door, land south of Trevithick Lodge, and concluded the proximity of the application site to the A392 presents similar issues that seem likely to require similar mitigations against the potential excess noise associated with this busy section of road, with even more traffic going out of the same place. Acoustic design statement would appear appropriate. Likewise, the proximity of the nearby biomass boiler, would suggest the need for input from the Environment Agency. Councillors agreed that given the original response from highways, confirmation should be sought that safe vehicular access to and from the A392 can be achieved. Should permission be granted, councillors questioned whether the current 40-mile-an-hour speed limit along this stretch of road should be reviewed. And then you say, in line with Neighbourhood Plan Policy GTE, the applicant is encouraged to explore opportunities for including high levels of environmental sustainability, such as renewable energy sources and rainwater harvest as a part of the overall design. Grey water recycling. So that's what we said last time. What you're saying this time is that you regret the loss of the gardens to make it possible for the
biggest land area use on this design is given over to tarmac. So, if you look at the sizes of the houses, and then you compare that, then you know that is the greatest land use is tarmac and drives and parking. I think it's poor design for the land space and an awful lot of impermeable surface for surface runoff. I mean, because that. With that amount of, you're going to have to use tarmac for that. There's no going to be permeable surface for all that parking there.
If you wanted to object based on policy, I think it's going to be, I don't think we've got one. We've got one that says you should have parking. I don't think we've got one that says you shouldn't. However, I think D1 might cover it.
And about too much tarmacking. There is a comment in the UMP.
I don't think we've got too much tarmac. It's got to be permeable, I think is the...
No, we have something about residents who are concerned about the over-tarmacking.
Yes, but we don't have a policy. We can say that residents are concerned. Right. Key principles of guidance to design, new development where appropriate should imply good enclosure to the public realm with buildings of comparative scale to create an active frontage, strong identity or sense of place, create a place that is clean and accessible. Sure process should be well connected in sustainable ways and integrated in its neighbourhoods, includes the use of green infrastructure and sustainable connectivity. And you're saying it hasn't got it because it's lost the green infrastructure. So I'm just trying to find. So what you're saying is that you want to object probably on basis of good design in policy D1, specifically, of course, the amount of tarmac which you would want to be impermeable.
No,
permeable. I always get them mixed up. But you want them to be permeable is excessive in the light of the size of the accommodation. And you'd wished for reassurance from the highways that the access there is considered safe. Does that cut what you're saying? So who's proposing that?
Sorry, can I just say something else? Is all this open plan? Are all these gardens open?
No,
all that all this green space? Or are they actually, are they contained gardens? Because to have this as, I mean, because they're, what are they? They're 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom houses. They're family accommodation that they're building here, isn't it? And it's going to be open. All that area is going to be open for children. There's no containment of.
I see fences there. I think there are fences there.
You have to look at the system design document. What's it say? Got solar overheating.
What does the red line mean?
Design of that might.
1.8 metre fence. Yes, the red line is a 1.8 metre fence.
Yeah.
Yeah, in front of the property and straight. So I don't know how they. Well, then at the back of the property they have a yellow walkway to the car park.
What are you looking at?
What's this
One of the maps.
The.
Right.
So they don't label their documents very well.
But presumably the
signalised road junction, something or other document.
Presumably the road down to the
yes, signalised road
green
junction
land to the south isn't fenced off.
So there, and the red line along the top there is a fence.
That's a fence.
Yes, and
But
then
none of this is fenced. None of that's fenced.
Why would you want it fenced?
Oh, so is this fenced in the
no,
front
I think it
here?
is fenced.
Okay, all right, okay.
So the houses
Yeah.
are fenced.
Okay.
But the open land isn't.
And then
No.
the yellow is how they walk out to their car.
So they do have fence. Right, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
So that's just a general
bad
green
design,
area at
but
the bottom.
It's a weird way to park your car and everything. Do they have EV chargers?
No,
Have we is it too late to raise that?
No,
we can put
you
that
could
on.
raise it.
Yes, could we, Louise,
We
please?
haven't voted on
Thank
it
you.
yet.
I think we had. I think we talked about it last time, didn't we?
Yeah.
We talked a lot about grey water and all the rest of
And
it.
there should be bird back boxes, solar panels.
So somebody wants to propose objection. Who's that?
I'll propose objection.
Based on that,
Yeah. Based on that.
is there a seconder for that? Yep. So show of hands for objection. I'm going to say no. I don't agree with you. I don't think we have sufficient to object, but I am happy to be overridden because I understand the. I know. This is democracy. I am happy to be overridden. I don't think we have enough to object, but if you want to object on that basis. I do agree with you. I don't think it's brilliant design, but I just don't think we've got the policies. But we're quite quote policy D1 as poor design. So that is objection on that one. Oh, that took its time, didn't it? Right.
I'm back on with application 11 PA 25/. Oh, do you want 5 minutes? Hello everyone, back. I'm doing application 11 PA 25/01219, 10 Penina Avenue, proposed single-storey extension. If we can start off, oh there we go. I was going to say with the location and the block plan, if we could look at that first. There we go. It's on the corner site. What we see at the moment, so the extension is proposed if at the front of the house here, this shaded area. It's a bit odd, this elongate bit at the side and then a front glass porch. So if we can then look at the street view. So it's going to be coming out from the front of the house here in this oblong and then between the sides. So if we can just drive down, no, the other way, down the hill and then look back a bit further. So the extension's coming at the side of the house and is going to be then removing some of this vegetarian nearest the house and coming out here. And it's going to have a corner window, which is going to be up to you guys to decide if it's going to be overlooking, or we could leave that for the officer to look at. So if we have a look at the existing plans, so this is the existing plan. So yeah, so it's going to be the extension is going to come along here. So if we can watch that bit, then if we look at the proposed, see, so the proposed then it's extending this like corridor at the side of the house, so with the back door, and then they're going to have French windows in this sort of garden room. But the window is then looking over the neighbours. So the French doors here go into their garden. There's no problem there. The only concern I have is the window here, because effectively their neighbour and their garden is there. I mean, obviously they haven't put in an objection. So proposed elevation. So this is the side. So they've got these two small windows. I don't think that's going to be a problem, because that effectively is beside the neighbour's wall. It's just this window here, which is going to be looking down the road and effectively looking out to the Ganor down the street. So and that's it really. It's going to have its the doors then into the garden here. Flat roof. So I don't have. I'm quite happy to propose no objection pending the planning officer checks about overlooking really.
Overlooking point. I mean, the irony is if you kept that, well, one of these sort of hedge trees, which is almost between the big window and the first little one, then you wouldn't be able to see into the neighbours next door, and you'd still get your Ganor view. So maybe there's something the officer can agree with them on that front, where they don't have to lose the window, but
it's a long way away from number 17, where we had big change and that got through. Yeah. So I can't see the officer objecting to this one, but it's worth checking for the overlooking.
No, there is. No, there is. That's a window here that's looking southwest down the road.
Yes, but it's looking down the road. It's not looking at any neighbouring.
Well, it's the neighbour. Yeah.
My view isn't on expert view. I think we should see something, but it just appears on first viewing that it seemed okay.
I mean, why would you want to look into your neighbours when you
Yeah.
So, are you making a proposal, Sarah?
Yeah. I'm happy to propose. No objection with it.
No objection. Why?
Subject to.
Because of the possible overlooking.
Yeah, just to the overlooking, really. I just want to make sure on that.
I'll second the subject.
No. Show of hands, no objection on that basis. Happy with that, Louise?
Okay. Still me. I've got the last two. Hang on, I'm just going to fold my folder up. So application 12, PA 25/00946, 57 Trimbath Crescent, adding a front and rear dormer to the third floor to create an additional bedroom and toilet. So if you have a Google map and a street view, you'll see that it already has a dormer. Oh no, it doesn't have a dormer. Okay, the interesting. We don't. Sorry, I'm getting confused with another one. Sorry. We don't actually get to see the street view, but actually panning around. Can we go back to the street view, please? Or yeah, if you pan round, there are no dormers. This will be setting a precedent. If you keep going round, and if you go round all the way round, I know the house is there. There's not a dormer in sight.
This is the string of houses at the bottom, isn't it?
Yes. So what we're looking at is this bottom one here. If you look at the satellite image, I think we'll see that again that there's no dormers on these roofs. This will be setting a precedent.
Is that a problem?
I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm just saying. I'm just saying at the moment. So. So location map then. So it's the bottom one here, bottom house, with the greenery in the front. Existing plans and elevations. They've got 2 skylights there at the moment, and they've got a room in the loft space with the 2 skylights there at the moment. And if you look at the proposed plans and elevations, so they're wanting to put in a dormer at the front and the back to make another bedroom and a bathroom in there. And it's a full dormer up front. So you're making, actually the house is going to completely change shape because the dormer is full width of the house, front and back,
So
at the same ridge height.
From the street, is it the bottom right
It
is what we're looking at, or worse?
Go back to the proposed. Yeah, go back to the proposed elevation. So that is the that's the street view from the front. That's the back. This is the side.
There's a footpath there.
There's a footpath there. So it's changing the character from all the houses to become effectively a 3-story flat roofed house, and there's nothing round there like that. This will be a huge change for the area. So there we go.
It's an approach that the planning officer is encouraging in other places, not necessarily here. I don't particularly like it, but I'm not sure. I mean, is it actually changing the character of the area? Because if it isn't, our policy says we encourage. And I think we're going to get a lot more of it, because I think there's going to be a lot more extensions, and so it's on the far corner, so I don't think it particularly, unless you think differently, I wouldn't have thought this is I think it's probably a no objection on the basis that it is such a change in precedent. But I think, I mean, our policy says we support these extensions unless it changes the character of the area. Yeah. And I don't think this is going to, is it?
I think it improves the area, potentially.
It's the bottom one at the end. It's the very bottom one where, yeah, I can't get a street view of it. Yeah.
I think, I mean, you know, if your family's growing, that sort of thing, or you're working from home or something, it makes sense that, you know, you can't necessarily afford a bigger house in this town, so you just put a little bit more bedroom on. And if anything, I think it may increase the value of some of these properties and good on them. You know, I don't see how there's any real detrimental effect.
I mean, I don't know about the, I haven't mentioned, well, I haven't said anything about the distance then, because you're creating another story. It is a different aspect. There are windows then looking over neighbours at the back. I don't know how far away those neighbours are, because there is that extra elevation as opposed to, you know, everything else had skylights.
Well, you've got a good view if you go in.
What happens every time someone does a dormer? Most of it, often.
They need to look at it because it is a precedent. But I think that's an interesting, well spotted. That is actually, because that does make it look quite different. But I think, is it coming forward? Is it coming forward past the roof line of the adjacent house?
It will do. Yeah. Can we have a look at the satellite image to see what's behind as to how close and everything? So it's going to be coming out this side as well.
Well, they've got plenty of.
So it's not necessarily going to be looking on any neighbouring properties. Okay. Yeah.
I think the other thing you have to bear in mind is further up Chenbath Road, Crescent, there are 3 massive blocks. You can see them there. They are 3-storey or 2-storey social housing. So those blocks there are.
3-storey? I thought they were still 2.
They might be 2-storey, but they're very large. They're
because
large.
that's them here, isn't it? They're 2. They're 2-storey.
But they're a large 2-storey. So I would say the houses at the end are smaller than the houses on the side there. So I just don't have a problem with this. Mind you, I am planning to put a dormer on my own house, so that could be
Proposed.
It's
proposed, no objection.
I mean, I think that I do have a problem with the design, but I can't see a reason to object. I don't think it's going to be aesthetically pleasing, but I do understand that the utility you gain from it is
I think it is worth saying, how is this going to fit in with the stepped relationship to the house next to it? Because that is quite different, and until we saw that look, we didn't realise that's what it was. But I don't think. Do we have enough for? I don't think we've got enough for a joke. I'll second it, yeah. Show of hands for no objection on that basis. You're looking unhappy, so that's all right. You can say.
That's fine. That's fine.
Would
yeah,
you prefer to object?
I'm going to object.
Yeah, that's no problem. So that's 1 objection and 3 no objections. Yeah, well, it's a very lukewarm no objection. Basically, we don't think we've got the planning reasons to.
One more, that's me too. Application 13, PA 25/01434, 37 Glamis Road, ground floor, rear extension. So we've got a location plan there. Oh, we've got street view. Oh, yes, it's hand drawn. So that's the street plan. So we're at the top end of Glamis Road with that's Henver Road up here. So if we know where we are. So
it's a terrace, isn't it? It's a semi-detached.
No, semi-detached. They're all semi-detached pairs, aren't they? So yeah, it's a little bit confusing, isn't it, looking at these? So what's proposed is basically this. If you can visualise this, the ground floor is in line with this little bit. You know, it's been an extension already, and so what happens is that it's going to become stepped. So if you see on the side here, the east elevation, that it's in line, this is in line. And these windows are going to be exactly the same, but it's going to be extended out into the back garden and become stepped. So if we see the proposed, see now you see it's stepped. So if literally the extension is this bit down here, which is extending their dining area up here, and then the doors, I mean, it looks exactly the same if you're looking at it from the garden, because it's exactly the same doors, but they're just being here on the extension. And I've got no issues with this. There's no side windows. It's just going to have the glass.
How does it relate to the house with its partner in the semi-detached? This is on the opposite wall.
Oh. No, so this is the east elevation. So this is the attachment.
So
with the neighbour, we can't see it from the street view. But the neighbour. That's yes. So it's the east view is on with the neighbour on the other side of the house.
So they're extending on one side of the building. Is it
Yeah,
the
the
side
back.
away from the neighbour, or is it the side close to the
No,
neighbour?
so the neighbour has got the house here,
So it's actually... Is it
adjoining the neighbour's property, but they've already got that extension already. So this extension. Oh no, go back a minute. Yeah, because stay there. So this extension effectively is going to be a little rectangle here.
Is it filling in the space?
No, it's still got the gap there to go between that and the garage.
Oh, it's there.
It's there. It's going to be literally
so it's
there.
nothing to do with the other one on the other side.
No, well, this is its neighbour here, so it's going to be extending into the garden. So the side of it is going to be against their garden boundary.
Right. So is there any effect? Does the neighbour have a window?
No, it's no window there. There's no window on it.
On the neighbour's side either?
No, on either. No. It's just got those doors, which effectively will be just propelled into the garden a couple of metres.
And if you go down the road, it looks like someone's done it already. Can we go back to that diagram again? No, the
plan.
one, the plan.
The plan.
That one. It looks like next to the nursing home, somebody has done it already.
Yeah, they've got all extensions. Yeah. I think like here's an extension, isn't there? That's gone.
Yeah.
Gone already. So I don't.
Proposal?
Yeah, I've got no objection. No objection to. Well, support this really.
So support.
Yeah, support this.
Subject to no effect on the amenity.
Yeah,
of
for the
adjacent
neighbours.
neighbour.
Yeah.
Anyone who going to second that? I'll second it. I'll second it. Okay. So show of hands support subject to no effect on the immunity of the neighbour. Yes, everybody's doing that. Right. Oh, we have some bits of back.
No, we got.
We have more to do.
We have the wrapping up, right? How are we doing? Oh, we've got 10 minutes, so this will be. We should start at 8. So at this stage of the proceedings, we are not changing our terms of reference. We're not doing any reports from the working parties, other than the fact that we will have a wrap-up meeting on the 1st for the neighbourhood plan, just to put a package together for the next council on the first Monday in April. Financial statement, have we spent any money?
You have not?
No, we haven't spent any money all year, I think. Do we have any other correspondence?
You do not.
Right. So then we've got items for information and discussion only. Yes, I have one. The having been very quiet for the last 4 years, our Cornwall councillors are both calling in an application to Cornwall Council Central Committee. The first one is our friend Chawinda, where we did everything we could to change it, and then we went no objection in the last case, and that's been called in by Councillor Gardner.
Which one's
Chawinda's the one next to the St Petrox that was a house and going to be a house of multiple. It's a bit confusing because we've just passed a thing turning it from a guest house to a single accommodation. These people are coming in from the outside to turn it into a house of multiple occupation. It's extremely unpopular locally, and I'm really looking forward to going to this. The second one is actually, I'm more sympathetic with, is the one in
St John's Road.
St John's Road, which is really interesting because the officer's report talks about it being a dwelling house the whole way through, and of course it is actually Airbnb.
So that's
Two being called in, yes. Well, no, the other one has been called out, going to be called in by Councillor Monk. No, it is Councillor Monk's. Yeah, I know, it's absolutely mad.
of course,
Yes.
Long time in the last meeting discussing the balcony. Oh, okay, sorry.
And I think we agreed to disagree. I think the vote was agreed. I think I maintained my objection. I hope I did. But it's agreed to disagree. So, but I have real concerns about that. Not so much. And Councillor Monk is drawing it on the basis of the overlooking at the rear, which I think there is a case for that. And it is an Airbnb, so I'm happier with that one. I'm finding it more difficult to find anywhere I can support Councillor Garrett on the other one, because he's just talking about street parking, and I'm thinking. Anyway, do I have your permission to represent the town council on the 10th, or would somebody like to do it?
No, please, no, please. Are you sinking down, Joanna?
I am sinking down.
You've got the sinking down chair. The jolly English chair.
So I will put my Louise. Can you contact, because I think we have to formally tell them that I'm going to represent the I'm going to represent the town council at this one.
Okay.
I'm not looking forward to it with any enthusiasm. Yeah, might as well. The first two on the agenda. I think it's the 10th, so that will be next Monday. Okay. I didn't call in the Hotel Bristol. But
I've got one thing, sorry if that's right. Just to remind you that next meeting, the 19th of March, you have a presentation, so it's a 5:30 start. It's the proposals for junction arrangements for the development of Chapel Gove.
Oh, that would be
Chapel-
really
Chapel
interesting.
Gover.
Chapel Gover.
Chapel Gover.
Which is next to Trevenson Meadows. But I understand, when I talked to the Duchy last week, I understand the original plans were that Trevenson Meadows, which has sort of little bits of road, was going to go into Chapel Gover. And but now they are, according to the Duchy, what they're saying is they are not going to do that. So there will not be a direct route from Trevenson Meadows into Chapel Gover, which would be a lot better for Rice Drive, because I think when they close the level crossing at Trent Creek, that Rice Drive is going to be a real rat run. But if they can't get through to Chapel Gover, that will make it that will reduce some of the pressure to do it. No, that will be very interesting, well worth coming to. Yes.
5:30 on the 19th.
Right. And I'm just having a look at the weekly decision makers. Glendorgal Hotel has been approved. That's advice given. Oh, something in Melligaunts and Nansleden. Don't remember that. Oh, the Anhuis Gustivere discharge. Yes, that's fine. Is that all there is? So the Glendorgal has gone through. We had a problem with that, but we hammered our way to a compromise, didn't we?
I thought it was the whole cliff thing then.
Well, exactly. I think they will.
And they've approved it. Oh.
I'd have to have a look at it to see why they've got 116 documents, 34 comments. Right. I suggest you read it to find out why they've agreed it with conditions. Like, don't knock the cliff down. Is that everything on the agenda?
That
In
is
which
everything.
case, I will thank Louise for womanfully stepping into the place. I will thank Jacob as always. Thank you all for coming, and see you in just over a fortnight.